Hey guys, welcome to another new What If series, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. This one will actually be a crossover series between Bayverse and the aligned continuity. But again, we will be making it work through various different means here. So without further ado, let us begin. Our story takes place in the multiverse, at the center of it all, the realm of the primes, with all of them pretty much coming to one conclusion. There are canon events in every multiverse throughout the entirety of the Transformers omniverse. And so, we see Nexus Prime look into the Bayverse. He sees one of the few canon events that happens, to which he says he's kind of sick of it. It's Jazz. No matter what continuity, or no matter what part of the Bayverse continuity it is, he always ends up dying by the hands of Megatron. So, today he decided that now is the time to change at least one event. And so, we then go back to the Battle of Mission City. The Autobots are battling against the Decepticons and had just taken out Brawl. However, unfortunately, Megatron arrives, and without anything else to do, Jazz tries to evacuate not only his teammates, but the humans as well. As First Lieutenant, he has a duty to protect everyone around him, and so when Megatron appears, he realizes that he has no other choice but to fight him here. Jazz pulls out his Crescent Cannon, as Megatron pulls out a miniature version of his Fusion Cannon, and so Jazz shoots him. However, when Megatron charges his Fusion Cannon, something happens. The Allspark that Sam is holding begins to glow, and it begins to glow a vibrant purple color. Not dark energy or something like that here. It seems to be responding. And so it begins to overload Megatron's fusion cannon. Jazz takes another shot, but again, it only just budges Megatron. He then pleads with Megatron, telling him to stop, and Megatron says he can't control it. And so Megatron, in a sadistic manner or with a sadistic smile, blasts Jazz. However, this blast doesn't leave him there. It simply teleports him. However, to Megatron, it looks like he's incinerated him. And so, everything goes the same with the Battle of Mission City. But where is Jazz? Well, unknowingly, he is flung through the multiverse, similar to the Darkspark. And he is unaware of where he's going. His body is relatively fine-ish. I mean, he did take a little bit of damage from the shot here, but it's not something too severe. And he's flung through not only time and space, but through multiple dimensions here. This is where we pick up with our first episode of Transformers Prime. Cliff Jumper talking to RC about how he was scaring some cops. And then, obviously like in the original, he arrives at an Energon mine. Or an Energon, well, technically it wasn't a mine. It was more like an open reservoir of Energon and stuff like that there. We'll just call it is what it is. He arrives at an Energon pocket. We'll just call it that. And so, like in the original, the Decepticon warship arrives and Viacons descend here. However, as the explosion goes off, this is where Jazz actually appears here. He is simply put in the place where the explosion was here. And so, as Cliff Jumper is being dragged away, Jazz simply calls out to these certain Decepticons that he doesn't know, asking them where he's been, asking them where he is, And so the Viacons kind of look at each other side by side, and then Cliff Jumper manages to gain consciousness enough to look at Jazz. However, as Cliff Jumper raises up, this flashes his Autobot symbol. And so, putting two and two together, Jazz immediately takes out his Crescent Cannon and blasts the two Viacons, killing them instantly. He then runs over to Cliff Jumper, asking him if he's okay. And Cliff Jumper looks at him in, "Who are you?" To which he says that he's Jazz, Lieutenant of the Autobot Resistance. And Cliff Jumper says he doesn't know anyone by the name of Jazz. To which Jazz understands that he might be somewhere entirely different. Doesn't know where he is, but he understands that an Autobot is an Autobot. And so, with the Decepticon warship in view here, Starscream actually sees this and looks at Jazz as if he's an alien, an anomaly even. And so, the Decepticon warship just fires on him, with Jazz immediately getting Cliff Jumper out of there, and, well, he's able to evade him pretty easily, or evade the Decepticon warship's fire pretty easily here. And with no humans around, Jazz doesn't have to hold back, but he asks Cliff Jumper if he can transform, to which Cliff Jumper says, yeah, he's just got enough, his body's just stable enough to be able to transform. And so he says transform and roll out, with Cliff Jumper following his lead here, as they both race away from the Decepticon warship, retreating. This is where Cliff Jumper puts a call out to the rest of the Autobots, and well, he finds a more secure location where Jazz actually helps stabilize him as the Autobots arrive. And immediately the first one to actually walk out is RC. And after seeing Jazz, she actually points her gun at him, or points her blaster at him, and actually asks him, who is he? To which Jazz simply, still supporting Cliff Jumper, puts one of his hands up and says, his name is Jazz. He's an Autobot, and he was a lieutenant, but he can tell that this isn't, well, his dimension or his Earth. To which when the rest of the Autobots who walk out, they immediately see his Autobot insignia. To which RC, still keeping her gun pointed at him and still not trusting him, obviously, isn't trying to, risk any deceptions in any way. To which Optimus tells her to stand down and then asks Ratchet to scan him. To which Ratchet pulls out his scanner and actually says that what he's saying is definitely true, considering he and Perceptor long ago actually did discuss multiverse theory and how certain things can happen to lead to where anomalies do occur here. To which Ratchet says that you both look like you're in need of repairs. And so with that being said here, Optimus actually walks over to Jazz and offers him a chance to join his team. To which Jazz says while he isn't his Optimus, he'll gladly accept it. And so, with that being said here, Jazz is actually taken back to the base and given repairs here. Now, considering the continuities, and considering that their technology in the Bayverse is more warlike compared to Transformers Primes, I could actually see Ratchet learning a lot of things from Jazz here. As a matter of fact, I would pretty much have that. Now, while Cliff Jumper's repairs are a bit more, I guess you'd say minor, they're a bit more cosmetic and more, I guess they reattach his horn and everything or give him a new one. Jazz's damage is a bit more interdimensional, if you will. His body is damaged, yes, but again, it's nothing Ratchet can't fix. And so, when Jazz gets repaired, he is a little bit different. He's a lot more vibrant in color. And, well, I would actually say in terms of size, he's around the same size as Bumblebee, if not slightly taller. So, Jazz is pretty much just integrated into Team Prime at this point here. Now, while he gets a tour of the base from both Cliff Jumper and RC, they both do ask him questions, RC in particular. And this is where Jazz is more, I guess you could say, playful personality does come out here, considering Playverse was a bit more playful. And he says that, yeah, he was a lieutenant, Optimus Prime's first lieutenant. To which they kind of look at him in shock, considering the sheer fact that he seems very laid back and chill for even a lieutenant here. However, RC quickly quips that she won't be taking orders from him too soon. To which Jazz says, the banter between them would definitely be a bit more playful, and I definitely could see RC being a bit shocked that someone has her more snarky personality, if you will. And so I think the two would enjoy each other, with Cliff Jumper also being there. And so this is where we get to the next situation, the humans here. And after Jazz is able to scan a much more Earth-like vehicle mode from this dimension here, he would actually be able to function in camouflage amongst the rest of the humans along with the other Autobots. Now back to the humans here. Bumblebee is able to pick up Raph and Miko just like in the original. However, the difference is with Jack here. You see, when RC gets Jack, this is where the Viacons almost do run over Sierra and her friend here. However, in this timeline, Sierra's friend actually gets out the way in time, while Sierra trips and falls into the road and is almost crushed by a Viacon until Jazz actually swoops in, smoothly I might add here, and simply scoops Sierra up in his car form and drives off with her. And so this is where they actually end up underneath a bridge and actually battle against the Viacons. To which, with Jazz there, Bumblebee and RC don't even lose here. As a matter of fact, Jazz takes care of it with minimal difficulty, unleashing his crescent cannon and utilizing his, I think it was his bow staff. I mean, depending on the continuity, but again, I guess I'll just go with Transformers the game where he had like a bladed staff. So we'll just go with that here. So we're using his bladed staff and his crescent cannon. He's able to make quick work of these Viacons here. And again, even if you want to say there are more in this timeline here, RC and Bumblebee are going to fight like they should have instead of how the Viacons were portrayed. Bulkhead arrives and any Viacon still left there simply leaves. And this is where they introduce themselves to the Autobots. Now you might ask, where's Cliffjumper in this timeline? Well, that's pretty simple. He's with Optimus and Ratchet, actually being able to fight against the, the Terrorcons, excuse me. And with Cliffjumper there, this provides a lot more cover for Ratchet as well here. Considering Cliffjumper is a pretty powerful character in his own right, he is actually able to deal with a lot of these Viacons pretty easily, these Terracons pretty easily here. So this means Ratchet and Optimus don't get pinned in, and Optimus is able to make his way towards Megatron a lot quicker in the original. There is no fight, Megatron does take off here. And so with everyone coming back here, everyone is introduced to the humans here. To which, now again, we do have Jack, Sierra, Miko, and Raph, all now with their respective human partners here. To which Cliffjumper is kind of disappointed that he doesn't get one here. However, Jazz opts to let him have Sierra if she wants here. However, after seeing how smooth Jazz was, she kind of elects to stay with him. To which both he and Cliffjumper kind of just shrug and just kind of go along with it. Now, with Rising Darkness Part 3, we also have to discuss this here. With Cliffjumper still online, Megatron has to use a Viacon to actually utilize his Dark Energon. And so, they would get that signal, and they would actually go over there to investigate. With Jazz actually being able to lay waste to most of the Decepticons there, adding the other Autobots is just simply overkill at this point here. Because again, remember, the Bayverse Autobots are a bit more warlike than the Primeverse Autobots. Okay, they're much more heavily built and a lot more durable. And so Jazz actually seeing this more head honcho like Decepticon asks the others, who's that? To which they say that's Megatron and Starscream. And when Jazz actually looks back, he asks Bumblebee, that's your Starscream. And Bumblebee nods and bleeps and states, yeah. To which Jazz bursts out in laughter, saying that his Starscream was way bigger and way more formidable than this. To which Jazz proceeds to climb up in a skillful fashion and proceeds to dropkick both Starscream and Megatron at the same time. To which Megatron is a bit taken aback, having never seen this Autobot before, and this is where he says that his name is Jazz, and you must be who again? To which Megatron introduces himself as Megatron, Lord of the Decepticons, and the Gladiator of Chaos. To which Jazz, again, laughs, saying that his Megatron was way more menacing than he is. To which Jazz actually takes out his staff, and well, the two actually begin to engage in hand-to-hand combat here, with Starscream actually just kind of playing a more, I guess you could say, scared role here. And so, Jazz and Megatron both going at it here. Now, if you really want my honest opinion, yeah, I do think Bayverse Jazz could definitely take on Primeverse Megatron here. And considering, his more heavier build, his much more, even for a much heavier build Autobot is what I'm trying to say here, he's actually noted to move as fast as lightning. So he's able to land a lot more devastating blows on Megatron and actually forces him to retreat here. To which Jazz actually kind of laughs at this as he and Megatron actually flee, and the Autobots are able to clear the Energon mine without any casualties. Now, going back to the Decepticons themselves here, Megatron is embarrassed even. The fact that some random new Autobot out of nowhere had just beaten him, and beaten him pretty quickly as well here. To which Starscream says, and mocked us as well here. To which Megatron does, backhand Starscream obviously here, and tells him that he needs an edge, and he needs it now. To which Megatron actually does this with the Dark Energon. And as usual, he, stabs himself with the Dark Energon, starts tweaking out and everything. And so, there you have it. Megatron with a Dark Energon boost, right? And so, with that being said here, Megatron now needs to know what are his schematics or what does he need now for his space bridge to Cybertron. And so now with the Autobots and humans now together here, Jazz actually gets acquainted to Earth here. Actually beginning to, I guess you could say, get to know the team a bit more now. Actually being able to show them how he was, or show, I guess you could say, holographic images of his dimension and how his Cybertron was a lot worse than theirs here. And they're absolutely shocked by what they see. His Megatron, his Starscream, both of them monsters, absolute demons in their eyes here. And his Optimus, a lot more aggressive than theirs, but again, a solid war veteran. And, you know, his team, the ones he went to Earth with. His Ratchet, even playing an old audio clip or an old video of him and Ratchet actually having a bit of banter, to which even Prime vs. Ratchet actually just rolls his eyes at it. And Wells says that, yeah, in his place or in his position, he also would have probably cut his vocal processors out too. So with that being said here, Jazz gets to know the team and again does show them their Primeverse versions, with everyone except for Bulkhead actually having one here. And believe it or not, Jazz actually states that he's more like Hound than anything. And so when he shows Hound or shows holographic images of him and Hound during the war, Bulkhead actually nods and says, yep, that is definitely him. And so with that being said here, everyone gets along perfectly. I don't really see any issues about that point from here on out. And so the next part of the Rising Darkness pretty much plays the same. The Autobots have to get Agent Fowler out of there. And well, it's pretty simple really. It's Jazz, RC, Cliffjumper, and Bumblebee along with the humans. However, Cliffjumper is able to be with the humans in this timeline, and so we could probably get a good scrap between him and Soundwave before the other Autobots intervene, and so he and Soundwave have to temporarily retreat, while Jazz actually is petty enough to blast the controls to the Decepticon warship and causing it to crash before they have to all transform and flee here. And well, Megatron obviously comes back 10 times more pissed than the original, saying that that infernal Autobot has caused him way too much trouble, and now he needs his army more than ever. To which Starscream does make up for it, and does state that, you know, they could probably, you know, get the space bridge up and running sooner than the original. And so Megatron says, good, but first things first, he needs something. Or better yet, he needs someone. And so Megatron and Soundwave both go into a canyon. And Megatron says that he should be here somewhere. And so when Soundwave actually gives him the more direct coordinates, he says, ah, yes, great. And so Megatron opens a chamber, and out walks Skyquake, who immediately kneels before his master, exclaiming that he is ready to serve him however he wants. And so, with Megatron, or basically Soundwave, giving him his vehicle mode, we'll just say it's the canon one, and we say that Soundwave, you know, has already access to everything on Earth. I mean, he technically does anyway, so he should be able to get vehicle schematics like, whatchamacallit, I think it was Transformers Cybertron, where they were able to give Wing Saber his vehicle mode through early schematics and stuff like that, of scanning all the Earth's vehicles. So, with that being said here, yeah, Skyquake just gets his vehicle mode without the need to scan Agent Fowler and put him in those wonderful situations here. So, with that being said here, Skyquake actually joins the team a lot earlier in the original here. And so the Autobots prepare themselves for the battle upon the space bridge here, with the Jazz actually being excited to get another shot at Megatron and to make quick work of any Decepticon that comes his way. And so the Autobots exit their ground bridge and magnetize themselves to their surface here. However, when Megatron arrives, he immediately hurls the Dark Energon, while Skyquake immediately transforms and flies at the Autobots, actually dealing a lot of firepower coming from him here. And Jazz actually has to move out of the way, stating that he's never seen a Decepticon like this before. To which they say that this is Skyquake, and they're wondering, why was he here? Wait, how did he get here so fast?
Into which the others really don't know this answer, but again, they have a mission here. To which Optimus engages with Megatron while Jazz engages with Skyquake. Considering Skyquake is very heavily built here, actually pretty built for a warlike Decepticon here, Jazz actually has a fight on his hands, with him now having to use his speed, while Skyquake is able to somewhat overpower him in close quarters combat. It is a match to be behold here, to which Skyquake and Jazz both find a respectful ground with each other, both honoring each other and actually fighting each other in a honorable fashion. To which we do know Skyquake may not have a blade here. I'm not sure if he did. I will have to look that up for other parts here. But we know in terms of firepower, that dude was heavy. And so Jazz and him would definitely have a shoot-off before Jazz decides to transform and actually use his vehicle mode speed to get close and then hit him with basically one of the slickest bob and weave punches ever. Or basically he pulls the same maneuver against Brawl, transforming and then shifting his body on top of him to move his cannon out the way here and preventing any heavy rounds from hitting Optimus here. And so, just like in the original, the Autobots are able to get the space bridge to finally implode on itself here. With RC obviously getting shot down by Megatron, and Jazz is able to utilize his magnet. Yes, Jazz actually did have a magnet in the Bayverse. He actually uses it to take away the human weapons here. And uses it to grab RC before going through the portal. And, well, obviously, they have to find out about Dark Energon one way or another, right? And so with that being said here, that leaves just one thing. Who's in control of the Decepticons for the moment here? However, Skyquake simply doesn't leave, and Starscream doesn't even dare to proclaim himself leader. And so, at this moment, Skyquake tells Starscream and Soundwave to search for Megatron immediately. And so, that is where we're going to leave it off here, you guys. Please comment down below, like and subscribe and share with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I hope you guys have a blessed day. Peace.